Hi, this is Leslie Salazar Correa, the I'm Waiting program. Matt Clinton of Fellowship of Christian Athletes uses his own past experiences to show youth that God isn't looking for technical purity. God wants a heart sold out to Him. We're hearing a lot about technical virginity. Because the studies right now, CDC puts teens engaging in sex or not engaging in sex is about 68%. That is a great number. It's up, you know, our programs, and we hear the feedback from it. These are CDC numbers. So 68% of teens, 9th through 12th graders, are actually not engaging in intercourse.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the definition of that?
Intercourse.
Yes.
Oral sex is still about 50%.
Sure.
And in the Christian community, the numbers are about the same.
Right.
Because they're looking for technical virginity.
Sure.
And my thing is, God's not looking for technical. He's looking for a purity of heart.
That's right.
You know, we want to get to that purity of heart. But so what, do you see that? You know, when you touched on it a little bit, like, but I'm only doing this, and God, you know, I think God's okay with it.
Yeah.
Or we're only having oral sex, so that's not really sex.
Oh, yeah. I think, I mean, gosh, we're really good at justifying just about whatever we want.
Yeah.
And I heard a pastor say once, if you're asking what is the line, you're asking the wrong question.
Yeah.
And I am a very normal man, and I'm not particularly proud of how I always led my wife before we were married. We did not have intercourse, but there were times where I didn't do a good job of leading her and didn't put us in situations that were really all that honoring to her. And we've been, you know, redeemed through that process. But I would be horrified to have to explain that to my wife if she wasn't my wife. And you know, we ticked all the boxes. We were both youth group workers. We were both. And the struggle is real. That's what it is. And so I think we assume often that the kids they're saying the right things, and they look the part, but so did my wife and I. And that's something that it's complicated, you know, it's tough, and it's I don't know how to address that always, because the thing that I've appreciate so much about your presentation and what you guys are about is it's not just the physical. You guys talk about the emotional. You talk about the attachment. And one of the lies I believed as a teenager is that pornography wasn't really affecting anybody but me. It was my own choice. I knew it was wrong, but okay, it's just me. Wrong. And what I get to talk to young men about is, you know what you do? You take those images with you into your marriage. You take those expectations, these false expectations of what sex should be, or the frequency in which you would have it, or all these different things. And like, where does all that come from? And it comes from your mind being polluted by pornography. And gosh, I didn't know that. And now when I get to talk to young men about that, I go, I appreciate that you're not physically having any sort of relationship with a woman, but I promise you, if you're engaging in that side of things, oh, it's coming back. And you're gonna have to deal with that because you are giving your heart and your mind away, even though you're maybe not physically putting yourself in any peril of pregnancy or STDs or anything like that. You know, that's not ultimately gonna go well. And I had no clue.
Yeah.
I had no clue that would impact me in the way it has. And it's been, again, another process to work through in marriage.
Yeah. And that's, you know, and I think that in what you do and what I do, people think that, like, we're not trying to suck the fun out of people's lives. We're educating them. Whatever decision they make, that's up to them. But these are scientifically proven things that consequences are going to happen. And I'm so glad that you touched on the porn thing. I love when science backs up what we've been trying to say.
Right.
I think the new statistic now is a boy, and parents, I really want you to listen right now. The average age that a boy is exposed to porn right now is 7.5.
Believe it.
And it's usually unintentional.
Right.
I mean, they're not looking for it generally. It's shown to them. They stumble upon it on the internet. We need to start having that conversation because it's not a victimless industry. I know people who came out of the sex industry, prostitutes, and everybody right now, because of social justice, sex trafficking, especially because we're in Southern California and we're part of the Vine, everybody's big on that. And yet they put porn in a different category. Talk to any former sex worker, and they'll tell you that that's where they started. You're viewing porn, you're participating in sex trafficking.
Interesting.
And so you are part and parcel of that, because a lot of times they are put there first, or they're put in prostitution, and then they're put into porn against their will. It's not victimless. But also what I try to tell kids, because, I get asked really questions. In fact, Ricky Garza, we were in a school one day, and the kid said, "So is masturbation okay?" And so I said, "Ricky, why don't you answer?"
Well played.
Because I'm not a guy. But what I try to explain to them is, with porn, with it, you're bonding with a mental image.
That's right.
And you're bonding with that, and that bond is never going to go away. And that image doesn't have feelings, doesn't have emotions, doesn't have needs of their own, doesn't have hurts, doesn't have expectations, doesn't have joys, doesn't have sorrows.
Yeah.
It's all about you.
That's right.
And that feeds into that self-centered. Humans do not need help being self-centered. We're good at that on our own.
Yeah.
That's
we're exceptional.
Yeah.
I think that's and that's where, again, you're educating in not just the why not, and you can start talking the chemical side. You're well clear of the faith component. You're just talking science, as you said, and that blows my mind. Just hearing that and just educating kids of this and that. And there's a guy that's I've had a chance to disciple for 5 years or so, and he's kept himself physically pure. But I know there's been times he struggled with pornography, as almost every guy has. And he's had interest in girls that have some physical past, maybe not intercourse, but it's a struggle. He's like, I don't know how to deal with that, because I'm trying to keep myself pure. I was like, brother, I hate to break it to you, but looking at pornography, it's not really a different, set of circumstances. I go, because you've given a physical connection as well as a chemical connection and mind space that is really not all that different scientifically from the act itself with another person. And I mean, there are differences, of course, and so that's a struggle, and that's a lie that I think a lot of guys believe. And not that women don't struggle with the pornography as much, but guys, it's very stereotypically a problem.
Well, because guys were created to be visual. Women are emotional.
Yes.
Anybody who's been married understands how emotional, a woman is. And if you hurt her emotions, there is no way that you're getting near her.
That's right.
Anybody who's married understands that.
That's right.
You guys are visual, and that's why porn is such a draw. Although porn is rising in females.
Yeah, I saw the statistics. I don't have them in front of me, but I was surprised to see the numbers be as high as they were.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to combat that. And it's so accessible. Anybody can, like you said, stumble on it. Pressing the wrong button. My son's almost 5, and he can, he'll get on my computer or on a tablet to watch a show at some point, a cartoon. Well, he's always an accidental click away from clicking on an ad that leads down a rabbit trail and I know he's not looking for that, but that could happen.
Yeah.
And so I've said often, I am so thankful that I did not grow up in a time of Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Because I would have been a disaster.
Yeah.
If I had access all the time to anything like that, or smartphones or things like that, it was already enough of a temptation for me. And so it's not a fight that can't be won, but it is a daily fight on these campuses with these kids. And as good answers as I feel like we provide, we're still not providing to most of them good enough answers, Well,
and I think that's what I was saying, because I love when the science backs up what we've been saying for so long, because it makes us seem less crazy, because science has really proven how porn rewires the brain in how they think. In fact, I was reading a study that when a man views porn, the same part of their brain lights up as when they see a screwdriver or a hammer.
Interesting.
So that's something to be used that doesn't have any feeling. A hammer is, it's something that you use for a specific purpose.
Right.
The same part of your brain lights up when a man views porn. So they start over time seeing that woman as something to be used. And any guy, and I talk to a lot of men who have been addicted to porn, those images, like you were saying, are very hard to turn off, and it's hard for them to realize that woman in front of them has emotion.
Sure.
You know, that she has needs of her own. You've been listening to how science is giving definitive answers on the destruction that porn causes, especially in teens. Matt is so good about addressing these issues with them. Tune in next time as we continue to discuss some of these really tough topics.